How do we fix the UFC heavyweight division? The UFC heavyweight division has been in a complete disastrous mess ever since Francis Ngannou vacated the title. And honestly, even when the Predator, no, not that Predator, okay, no, not that one either, yes, that one, was presiding over the division, it wasn't in a great shape either. Legends like JDS, Overeem, Cain Velasquez, and DC were leaving the division faster than the average 400-pound American reneges on their New Year's resolution to hit the gym once every 3 months. Those legends were replaced by the likes of Hamdi Abdul-Wahab, Tai Oink Oink Tuivasa, and of course, the undisputed GOAT, Shamil the Meal Deal Gaziev. In the year of our Lord 2025, the level of talent in the heavyweight division is lower than a type 2 diabetic's insulin sensitivity. The average heavyweight fight is about as entertaining as watching two pigs fight over who gets to eat at the slop chop first, because that's literally what it is, minus the mud. So how do we fix the stinky, slimy, jiggling, porcine mess that is the UFC heavyweight division? Well, besides the obvious things, like getting the title picture unclogged by getting Tom Aspinall versus coke fiend, wife beater, drunk driver, eye poker, drug cheat John Jones made, we need to make some serious changes to the rest of the division. So today, I've come up with 4 proposals to fix the UFC heavyweight division and make it great again. So Dana, Hunter, you better listen up because what I'm about to say will save your company. So, step 1 to fixing the UFC heavyweight division is to open it up to women. Now you might be thinking, that's a horrible idea. We know that women can't fight to the same level as men. Maybe, but let's be completely honest. Can you tell the difference between a boar and a sow from a distance? Can you tell which is a male and a female from these two silhouettes? Barker Porker's saggy flapjacks are bigger than those of every WMMA fighter, and Amberlyn Reed's arms are thicker than John Jones's thighs. Being a male is an advantage in most athletic pursuits, but once you cross the threshold of being more body fat than human, that ceases to be the case. So why should we segregate the divisions? None of the unranked male heavyweight men are doing Dominic Cruz-style footwork, scrambling like Arman Tsarukyan and Mateusz Gamrot, or boxing like Topuria and Holloway. All they do is just plod around, throw 5 strikes per round, and clinch up so they can gasp for air. And I think women and those of unspecified gender would be just as capable of participating in this spectacle as men. And speaking of unspecified genders, the very existence of the UFC heavyweight division makes me think that the woke movement was, in some ways, correct about there being more than 2 genders. There's male, female, and fat. If you're a fit man, you're going to have a V-shaped body with broad shoulders, abs, and a wide back. If you're a fit woman, you're going to have an hourglass-shaped body with a wide bust, wide hips, and a narrow waist. If you're a fat, it doesn't matter if you've got a yadong or a pussy down there, because you're going to look like a piece of amorphous Play-Doh regardless. And that big old belly is going to get in the way of any attempts at reproduction anyways. By letting disgusting land whales, women of size, compete in the UFC, we not only would double the UFC division's talent puddle, but we could also get some fantastic highlight reels. Like, who wouldn't want to see this woman get knocked out? Or this one? Or this one? Being a funny fat guy is alright and tolerable, but loud, obnoxious, entitled fats are the most hateable demographic in the entire world. As can be observed from the popularity of My 600-Pound Life and various obese mukbang YouTubers, watching fatties suffer from the consequences of their actions is a significant source of entertainment for modern audiences. Before he lost weight, Nikocado Avocado was one of the biggest sources of drama on YouTube. And why was that? It was because he was fat. There was video after video telling him to lose weight because he was gonna die, even though it wouldn't affect the video creators in a single way if his heart exploded from all the spicy cheesy noodles he was stuffing down his throat. So Dana, Hunter, what's to stop you from matching up Dank DeMoss versus Derek Lewis? Watching the ragdoll physics in that fight will be hilarious. Although, I will say this. Please make sure that whatever arena you'll be holding that fight in can handle a high magnitude earthquake. Moving on to step 2 is to begin using human-pig hybrids as heavyweight athletes. In 2017, the Chinese government reportedly created a chimera between a pig and a human by injecting human cells into a pig embryo. This pig-human hybrid later escaped the lab, began an MMA career, and came to be known as the UFC fighter Anthony Smith. But that's a story for another time. There are numerous advantages to utilizing human pig chimeras over organically grown heavyweights. First is that the chimeras will age much more quickly to maturity thanks to their pig DNA. This will allow the UFC to replenish the heavyweight roster, which is currently only at 30 fighters, within just a year or so. Also, because most adult pigs weigh in between 140 kilograms and 300 kilograms, or 310 and 660 pounds, we can be certain that we'll be getting fully sized heavyweights, and not oversized flyweights like Chris Barnett, or malnourished ones like Lucas Bursky. Another upside of the pig chimeras, and I'm sure that the UFC and Dana White would absolutely love this, is that since they're not fully human, they wouldn't be entitled to human rights. This fact is evident from how the UFC treats their current human pig hybrid, Anthony Smith. Smith is about to retire, and instead of giving him an easy matchup against someone like Tuco Taco Tokos, they're feeding Bacon Heart to Zhang Ming Yang, the best unranked prospect at light heavyweight. Furthermore, the Chinese are avid consumers of pork, being the world's largest consumer of pig flesh. You know, there's a reason why MMA Guru and MMA Joey haven't traveled to China, and it's because they're deathly afraid of ending up in some shady Shanghai hot pot. From the example of Anthony Smith, we can tell that the UFC doesn't treat these human pig hybrids with any dignity or respect whatsoever. Hell, I don't think they would even have to pay them. Now imagine that, Dana White. An entire roster of heavyweight pig chimera hybrids that you don't have to pay. Just think of how many Apex Fight Night cards you could fill up with them. It's a clean, simple solution to the UFC's lack of bodies among unranked heavyweights. But everything I've talked about so far has applied to unranked heavyweight. So, what can we do for the ranked heavyweights? Well, that's where my third proposal comes in. Step 3. Mandatory Ozempic usage. Yes, you heard me right. Whenever a ranked heavyweight loses a fight, we must inject him with Ozempic immediately. Withhold his show money and use it to pay the $69 grillion it costs to get a doctor to issue a prescription for the drug. I don't care if it's unethical. I don't care if it violates their rights to bodily integrity. My eyes are violated whenever I have to watch two ranked heavyweights blob it out over 5 rounds as an Apex main event. At least with the unranked heavyweights, I can just laugh at how fat they are. When I'm watching the top 15, I want to feel like I'm watching the best fighters in the world. Okay? Now, besides that, what else should these obese ranked heavyweights be made to do? Well, first, the UFC should provide free consultations between them and Dr. Now on how to lose weight. And if that doesn't improve their performance, ship them off to Cameroon to work in the sand mines for 2 to 3 years and forget. That's where Francis Ngannou built his physique, so let's try to replicate his success. We also need to put restrictions on their credit cards, PayPals, and Cash App accounts so they can't buy Taco Bell, KFC, Popeyes, or any other fast food slop. And in Tai Tuivasa's case, audit him to find out if he has any money invested in crypto, because I wouldn't put it past him trying to buy an octuple bypass burger at the Heart Attack Grill with some Bitcoin. Now getting back to the mandatory use of Ozempic, if any heavyweights complain about being injected with it, saying stuff like, "Wah, I don't want Ozempic face. Wah, I don't want to lose my teeth. Wah, I don't want to go blind. Wah, I don't want to be paralyzed." Well then, lose weight without the use of drugs then, piggy. Ozempic was invented because fatties didn't have the discipline to lose weight by themselves, despite it literally coming down to putting the fork down. You can literally lose weight by not doing something. It's that simple, okay? Now getting to my final idea for fixing heavyweight, it's pretty simple. Step 4, sign MMA Guru to the UFC.
Have you been a good piggy today? Oink oink? No, I've not. Oi, 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 oi.
Look, there's already multiple precedents for signing completely untrained people to the UFC. We've had CM Punk, Greg Hardy, and the women's bantamweight division. What's stopping the UFC from signing everyone's favorite disabled rabbi? The guy is huge. He towers over Dricus du Plessis, who himself mogs Michael Bisping. And he's morbidly obese, drowning his sorrows every day by drinking mayo straight from the tube. He's a perfect addition to the UFC heavyweight roster. Sure, he'll probably get eaten alive by any ranked fighter, including the ones that would literally like to eat him, but imagine if he somehow flukes a win over a lard bag like Thomas Peterson or Hamdi Abdul Wahab. It'll be hilarious. And if he just gets brutally knocked out 4 times in a row and gets cut, that'd be pretty funny too. Anyways, that's the end of my proposals. Let me know if you think the UFC should implement my ideas in the comments below. And if you think we should go through with these steps, please share this video so that Dana White sees them. Oh, by the way, the actual solution to fixing heavyweight is to legalize steroids.